This is the Homeschool Show from North Carolinians for Home Education. Our goal is to help you homeschool with confidence and joy. I'm your host, Matthew McDill. We're so glad you're joining us today, and we're glad that Rhonda is here in the studio again as our co-host.
Glad to be here.
Doing okay?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good.
Good.
Tell us what we're doing today.
Well, first we're going to have our homeschool news. Then our next segment will be the homeschool conversation. Today we're going to listen to another portion of Matthew's interview with Yvette Hampton, who is the producer and host of a new documentary called Schoolhouse Rocked: The Homeschool Revolution. Then we'll have a very special segment in which we will tell you what NCHE has been up to in 2021. Then we'll have our homeschool reality moment. And in our moment this week, Christina is going to share about the adventures of homeschooling while also occupying a toddler.
Sounds
Not
difficult.
for the faint of heart. Yeah. And then finally, our final segment will be the homeschool tip of the week, where we create plans and strategies ahead of time to occupy your baby or toddler while homeschooling. Much
So see a video of someone dealing with it, and then we're going to give some tips.
Some strategies, yeah.
Perfect. That's great. Well, we'll start with the news here, and basically we just like to let you know that a very exciting event is coming up, and it's the NCHE Hornets Homeschool Night. So the Charlotte Hornets are going to be playing the Houston Rockets on December 27th, and this is going to be homeschool night. So go ahead and save the date. The tip-off is at 7 p.m. at the Spectrum Center in Charlotte. Join fellow students, families, and friends for NCHE's homeschool night with the Charlotte Hornets. So that's the tagline. We will have registration information up very soon on nche.com. We wanted to let you know ahead of time that it's coming so you can put it on your calendar and be looking for that info.
Next, we have the homeschool conversation, and today we're going to hear from Yvette Hampton, and she's the producer and host of the documentary that you need to see called Schoolhouse Rocked: The Homeschool Revolution, and also the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast. Now, Matthew sat down with Yvette at the Leaders Conference hosted by Homeschool Legal Defense Association.
So at one point in the conversation, we already had one part of my interview with her. At this point in the conversation, I asked her about what she thinks the importance of homeschooling is in this important cultural moment, and some basic advice for homeschool moms. So let's see what Yvette has to say about it.
So we're in an interesting cultural moment where there's a huge fracturing of our whole nation, politically, ideologically, in every way. And with homeschool exploding, of course, one of the questions is, what's the impact? What's the importance of homeschooling in this cultural moment and all that's happening? So what, in your view, how do you see the role of homeschooling right now, in our culture, in our nation?
The title of our movie is called Schoolhouse Rocked: The Homeschool Revolution. And I really believe that homeschooling is a large part of the puzzle piece that's needed in order to bring our culture back to where it needs to be. And I think that the greatest thing about homeschooling is family. It's parents literally taking the hearts of their children into their hands and bringing the family back together. And I think that our culture is where it is today because for so many years, family has been separated. The kids go to different schools, they go to different classes, parents go to work, everyone comes back together in the evening, and then you have all the chaos of the night, dinner and lunches for the next morning and laundry and all the things that need to be done, and the family is not unified in any way. Even churches, if you think about it, so many churches are, disengaging the family. You've got men's Bible study, women's Bible study, youth group, and kids programs all on different nights of the week. And so the family, and I think this is a clever design of Satan's actually, the family has been pulled apart, and we think that's normal. We've come to think that that's a normal part of society. Homeschooling does something that's very different. It brings the family together. And you can have a 5th grader, a kindergartner, and a 12th grader who are all learning together at the same time. And mom and dad together are bringing that family unit together. And one thing that we have learned is Satan hates family. And if we can tear apart the family, our culture and our society is done for. And we're seeing that happen, where even, these millennials are coming in, they're like, we don't need family, we don't need children, we don't need to get married. They don't even desire to have family, because why would they? They've seen the disintegration of family. So why would they care to have that? Though it's in us. Like, we know we need relationship. And so I think the relationships that are built through homeschooling are really what is going to cause this revolution. And then you bring God into that mix. And if you have family and you have Christ and you put those things together, I think it will be revolutionary in our society to bring us back to where we need to be.
Right. So, any last thoughts or encouragement to moms?
Yes, it's funny because it's a line from the movie that rings in my head all the time. Ginger Hubbard is one that says it, and she says, if I can do it, you can do it. I was a student through my whole education, my elementary and junior high and high school years that hated school. The academics. I loved the social part of it, but I despised everything academic because it was very difficult for me. I really struggled academically. And so when I graduated high school, I vividly remember thinking, I'm done with school. I actually went and registered for college classes at the local junior college because we had registration day for all the seniors, and my friends and I all went together. That's just what we were going to do. That it was like a Saturday, and everyone went to the junior college to register for their classes for the next year, those who weren't going off to a different college or university. And so I went and I registered for all these college classes, and I came home and I almost felt sick about it. And I told my dad, I said, I don't want to go to college. Like, I hate school. And I remember he said to me, well, don't waste your time or my money. Go get my money back. And I said, okay, and I did. I went and got his money back, and I didn't go to college. Praise God, I ended up getting married and starting my life off that way, which I think was great. But I felt very inadequate going into homeschooling, even with my 4-year-old. My oldest was 4 when we started, and I just felt like I had no clue what I was doing. And again, as is talked about in the movie, our system has led us all to believe that we're not capable of teaching our own kids. And that's crazy. They're our children. We know them better than anyone. And so I felt very inadequate going into it. And I often still feel very inadequate. I host a podcast every week. We're on episode 300 and something. Every single week I talk to homeschool leaders, and we made a movie about homeschooling. It took us 5 years. My whole world is all about homeschooling and discipleship and all the training, and I can give all the right answers, yet if you came to my home on a Monday morning and it's time for my girls and I to do some of the more academic-y types, type of things that we do, I always feel inadequate. But I know that I'm only adequate because the Lord helps me to get through it. My oldest is now in 10th grade. Somehow we've made it to 10th grade. I don't know how, but by God's grace. And the great thing about that is that in the end, I will never be able to say to anyone, look what I did. I was the most amazing mom. I was the most amazing teacher. I was the most amazing educator. I will only ever be able to say, look what God did, because everything I do with my girls is only by the grace of God. And so He gets all the glory in the end. I get none of it. I just get to step back and say, I was willing to say yes to what He called me to do and what He called my husband to do. And my girls, will be the result of His grace and His glory. So moms who feel inadequate, which is pretty much every single one of them.
Yep, all of them.
Yes, they can do it.
Okay, that was Yvette Hampton. She's the producer and host of the documentary Schoolhouse Rocked, The Homeschool Revolution. This is a new feature-length documentary that examines the incredible growth of homeschooling and why thousands of families across the country are choosing this path for their children's education. The premium streaming release of Schoolhouse Rocked was launched on November 12th. You can purchase tickets to watch the documentary and at the same time support NCHE if you go to our special link. And the address is watch.schoolhouserocked.com/index/NCHE. And when you buy your tickets from there, of course, you'll be able to select when you want to watch that. And of course, you'll be supporting NCHE as well. You can look at the show notes and get that link also from there. watch.schoolhouserock.com/index/NCHE. So we want to have a special segment here now where we are going to give a little report about what we've been doing, North Carolinians for Home Education in 2021. And the reason we're doing this is because we're going to spend this last bit of time of this year encouraging you to partner with us in our mission, which is to help parents homeschool with confidence and joy, to partner with and support us. And we want you to know what we've been doing so that you can be excited and celebrate with us and help us in it. So we had a great year, Rhonda.
Yeah, we really did.
So many great things that happened. And one of the first things I think of is the webinars that we did. We actually did 4 webinars this year. I know you were involved in several or most of them. The first one is discipleship at home, and that's one that I led, helping parents disciple their kids. Another one is required annual homeschool testing. And that's pretty important because that's one of the legal requirements here in North Carolina, and you need to know how to do that. Another one we did was embracing ethnic diversity in homeschooling. And this is a conversation with a Black homeschool mom and a Hispanic homeschool mom. And we're going to just in a minute tell you more about how they are partnering with NCHE now to do some other exciting things. And then finally, you tell us about this one because you did this one right here.
The Let's Get Started, How to Begin Homeschooling in North Carolina, where we tell you how to get up and get legal and get started.
You and Amanda did a great job.
Thank
you did that right here in the studio.
We did.
And you can go to nche.com/webinars and see those webinars and a lot more. So that's one thing we did this year to support parents. And we're really excited about those things. The next big thing is we actually had a conference.
Yay!
It was so exciting because 2020,
Yes.
no conference, as you know, and many other things didn't happen. But 2021, we were in the midst of trying to figure out, oh no, are we going to be able to have it? What kind of restrictions will there be? What kind of spacing? What kind of masks and all that? And basically at the last minute, we were able to have it. It was so exciting.
So exciting.
We were about 60% of our normal attendance, or at least 2019 attendance, which isn't really surprising.
No.
But people were just so happy we had it. And so that was a major win this year for us to be able to have that conference.
People were thrilled.
Yeah. Now, Rhonda is our community relations director on our board, and she leads our regional liaisons. We have 9 regions. It was so exciting that we were able to almost fill. We have 8 liaisons now.
Yes.
So that was a win. But the other thing is we created 2 new liaison positions that are non-regional, multicultural liaison positions. And those 2 ladies I was referring to, T.S. and Smack and Luz Velasquez, have joined our team as liaisons to help us reach multicultural families. We're really excited about that.
Super. That's the thing I'm most excited about off this report.
And so we want to do everything we can to reach those families. And that's a big step that we've taken also this year that we're celebrating. So one more for this year is this show. Right? This show started.
The show.
This is episode 12. So we're learning a little bit how to do this, getting more comfortable. And this is available weekly via radio, video, and podcast. You can listen to this show on WSIC, which is a news talk station, at 8:30 a.m. on Mondays. Every Monday, you can tune in there. You can also watch and subscribe on YouTube. And we'll release about the same time after the radio broadcast each week. You can watch it there. So this is probably one of the biggest things, at least for me, that we're doing every week to help parents.
It's exciting.
Yeah. So finally, not finally, we had a mom's retreat. You want to tell us about that? That was just a couple weeks ago at the Caraway Conference Center.
It was fantastic. Wonderful encouragement and time of fellowship. It was just a blessing. So you should make plans to come because they're going to have it again, is what I've heard.
Yeah, that's right. It's already on the calendar for next year in November sometime. So one other win that we want to share with you has to do with our finances because we were we were planning on having a deficit in our budget this year. That doesn't sound like a good idea to plan that, does it? Let me back up and tell you why, okay? That's not a good plan. Well, here's what happened. In 2019, I was on the board as a volunteer, and our board hired me to be the full-time executive director. Okay, so now that's adding another salary, full-time salary on top of our normal expenses. We were not prepared to do that with our normal annual income. However, we had enough savings. So we had the money to do it, and it was an investment. It was a step of faith that we were going to take a couple of years and grow the organization and grow our income so that we'd be able to cover that expense. Because we knew if we didn't have someone really focusing on the organization and how to grow it, that we were not going to be able to really grow. And so we're excited that we were planning on having a bit of a deficit this year, but we are ahead of schedule. And we have a much smaller deficit than we hoped, than we planned on. And so now our goal at the end of this year, 2021, is to raise $20,000, and that will help us be way ahead of schedule and meet our budget this year.
Yes,
so that next year, maybe we can get ahead and be in the black and invest in some other things. Can you help us be a part of that? If you can partner with us, go to nche.com/give. And that's where you can make a donation. Another thing you can do is share this video with other people who may be interested in participating as well. We appreciate your support. We appreciate you believing in what we're doing and helping us homeschool with confidence and joy. So next, we're going to have the Homeschool Reality Moment. So Christina, as you said before, is going to share a little mishap as she was trying to homeschool her kids with a toddler running around.
Yeah,
not running around, but coloring.
Hard.
We'll see.
Yes.
So here's my day so far. My 9-year-old and my 6-year-old and I are working on our schoolwork. So trying to occupy the 2-year-old who just finished her snack and needed something else to do. I gave her, of course, crayons and paper to color. She's working on the paper, yes. She's also working on the floor. So, needless to say, I'm going to have to clean that up, aren't I? Or maybe I can do some home ec and my 9 and 6-year-old can clean it up.
Okay, we want to take this opportunity to talk about the very thing that Christina was trying to deal with there. So here is our homeschool tip of the week. Create plans and strategies ahead of time to occupy your baby or your toddler while homeschooling.
Yes, it's so important. And most people don't quit homeschooling because of the homeschooling. It's the pain points of how do I get dinner on the table? How do I homeschool and take care of babies and toddlers?
Right.
So I just want to share with you today some tips that I've learned basically the hard way. I don't have the parenting thing figured out, but I have some tips for you that worked well for me. I would encourage you to establish a routine of meals, rest, activity, and bedtimes. And also have what I call a quiet home. I went for a period of time where it seemed like we were running around all over the place. And with toddlers and babies, their schedules are messed up and everything. So it's not very helpful. So if we can keep a quiet home, maybe only go outside the home once a week rather than multiple times per day.
So you're not talking about volume when you say quiet?
I'm not talking about quiet.
Okay.
Quiet
because I was hoping we could talk about how we're going to get a quiet. No, but I understand a calm schedule.
Yes,
Calm schedule. That's a great idea.
Exactly. And a few podcasts ago, you can go back and check it out. But we talked about having first-time obedience in your children and how to execute that. And the younger you start that, the better. One thing that we did that I found helpful was we trained our kids to play by themselves.
Yeah.
So even starting with a baby at 5 minutes on a blanket or in a playpen, because we had a number of children. We had 6 and you have 9. So a lot of our kids would want to play with their younger siblings all the time. And so consequently, the younger ones kind of got spoiled and thought they had to be entertained. So if we can train them to incrementally increase that playing by yourself time, it's very helpful. Also, mom or dad or whoever's working with the older kids should plan some undistracted time with their baby or toddler first thing in the morning, preferably before you start school, just so they know that you're important to them. And then they're more able to let that time with the other kids when they're
That's a great
schooling go
idea.
by. Another thing that I found helpful was to use a timer, whether it be on your kitchen, microwave or on your phone or wherever, so little ones could be more patient. So I would set a timer and say, I've got 30 minutes that I need to do math with Joey, and then after that, I'll get to spend time with you and we'll read or whatever.
Yeah, we did that too because it helps them know there's an end to this.
Yes, it's not going to be forever.
If they
that
think this
mommy's
could just
gone.
go on forever.
Yes.
It helps them psychologically prepare and
I
gives
think
them
that's
patience.
right. I think another tip, and I'm sure you guys did this in your family too, plan your important subjects where it requires your focused attention when your little ones are taking their naps.
Naps are good.
Naps are good. And even when my younger ones quit taking naps, they had alone time or rest time. So there was still a structured time when I could depend on them I could be hands off with them during that time. Some other just tips that you can use, maybe, hopefully, are have some toys that you save and use them only during school time. Have you ever had a kid find a toy that they forgot about?
Yeah.
And then it's like it's a brand new toy and they're occupied forever.
Christmas.
Yes, it's Christmas again. And so I just would rotate them around, put them in a big Rubbermaid tub and rotate them around for only during school time.
I think I'm going to find those lost toys and wrap them.
There
this
you go.
year.
Hey,
That's a
Christmas
great
is coming.
idea.
You could probably do that. Get away with it. Also, I am just real as a parent. We don't have the parenting thing all figured out, but I would wisely use CDs, or they don't even hardly have CDs, but media, TV or music for my kids to grab a space of time that I could school other children. So I don't think you should feel bound about that. Also, another strategy is pair an older child with a younger child for a block of time so you can teach. And oftentimes that older child might even want to do school with the younger ones.
Oh, yeah.
So if they're just learning to read, they can read to their younger baby or toddler and spend time with them. And they're also reinforcing their own learning in the process.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, little ones always want to help, right? They want to help. So let them help. Let them be with you when you're doing school. Include them as much as you can. I would take little workbooks that our others had used up and let them write in it. They think they're doing school and it's great. Also, like I said, let them help in chores. It takes a lot longer to let a toddler do chores, right?
And there's that little window, though, when it's fun to them.
It is.
It seems like a little window.
It is.
But just take that opportunity while they think it's fun, right?
That's right. Because when you get your older kid and you're trying to train them in chores, they're really not so cooperative or excited.
That's
The
right.
younger ones want to do that. So even though it takes longer, trust me, mom and dad, if you just take that time and spend it with them and train them in how to do chores, it will pay out on the other end for sure. And also just keep some activities close by when you need a distraction for your younger ones. That could be like stringing beads, lacing cards. I even put toddlers up to a kitchen sink with soapy water and like plastic containers and let them wash and do whatever. And of course, yes, the floor got wet, but at my house anyway, it needed to be washed anyway. So it was a twofer. Also, Play-Doh. You can put water in a bucket and they can paint like the bricks on your house.
So it doesn't sound like it has to be very expensive.
Not expensive because I was not like, or not complicated because I'm not crafty. Some of you guys out
That's
there are
creative,
especially
though.
but it's just easy things that you can do. Sidewalk
Right.
chalk that kids can utilize to take up time so that you can accomplish the homeschooling that you need to with your other children. I did want to mention also that we have a resource that you want to check out because way more tips and tricks for you in creating strategies for dealing with your younger children. It's called Laying a Good Foundation. It's a webinar, Homeschooling Little Ones, and it's included an interview with Dorenda Wilson. And you can reach that at the NCHE website, so nche.com/Laying a Good Foundation webinar. It's just on the
Right.
webinar page, right, I guess?
Yeah, the easiest thing to do probably is go to nche.com/webinar, and it will be listed on there.
Great.
With a bunch of other ones as well. So anyway, the thing here is to plan ahead.
Absolutely.
If you get up and start working and try to go through your schedule, and then you're trying to get creative and think of something because your little one isn't occupied, that's frustrating.
Right.
But if you have a plan, and you have toys and a rotation and a system, that is super, super helpful.
It is so
Thanks,
helpful.
Rhonda. That's great. Okay, we are once again so happy that you joined us for this episode of the Homeschool Show. And we want to ask you to give us feedback. Maybe you have a question or a topic you would like for us to discuss here. You can email us at thehomeschoolshow@nche.com. Maybe you have other ideas or feedback about how we can improve. We'd love to hear that. And don't forget also that you can send us videos for the reality moment, Homeschool Reality Moment.
Please do.
And so that can be a 1 to 2 minute video. Make sure you turn your phone horizontal. Make sure that you explain, because this isn't just video, it's also audio. Make sure that you explain what you're doing while you're doing it. Until next time, please continue to homeschool with confidence and joy.